Hi everybody, my name is Tim Berry and my company is called the Tax Academy. We're the ones who provide these 401k documents. And the purpose of this video is to explain the manual to you, what all the documents are for, and what you need to do with those documents. And so let's go through what the tabs of the binder are. First off, we have the employer identification number. That's the employer identification number that we obtained from the IRS on your behalf. And in roughly about 2 weeks after the time that we obtained the EIN, you're probably going to get a confirmation letter from the IRS saying that they did in fact receive your application and just confirming that that EIN is going to be the EIN for your 401k plan. You don't need to do anything with that letter, although you might want to do the 3-hole punch thing and put it inside your plan right after the employee identification number. Also, we include inside your binder a determination letter, and that's a letter from the IRS saying that the form of the document is a valid retirement plan. Now keep in mind, in order for the plan to be valid, it needs to be created properly, which the determination letter is saying it was created properly, and it needs to be operated properly. If you have any questions on the operation of your plan as to whether you're doing something right or wrong or not, by all means, give the person who set up the plan for you a phone call and discuss it with you, because you don't want the IRS coming back a little bit later and saying you don't have a valid plan and you have a full distribution. Okay, next form. Tab 2, a consent to action. This is just basically a form that says that you, as the head honcho of your particular company, agree to create the 401k plan and start utilizing the 401k plan. So look at your consent to action, make sure there's no typos inside there, and if everything's correct, just sign it and date it and keep it in your books and records. It doesn't need to be filed anywhere. So after the consent to action, we also have something called the Plan Adoption Agreement. What's the adoption agreement? Well, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. There's a document inside here that's called the Basic Plan Document. And the Basic Plan Document is basically 80 pages of pure boilerplate. And the boilerplate says, under certain conditions, the plan can do this, or it could do this, or it could do this. What determines what selections the plan is going to have to operate by? That's the adoption agreement. So your adoption agreement says, okay, the basic plan document allowed me to do certain things. These are the specific actions, the specific choices I'm going to take in regards to my retirement plan. And that's the adoption agreement, making the concrete decisions and choices about how your retirement plan is going to operate. Go ahead and look at the first page, make sure that there's no typos, make sure all the information is correct. Yes, we are human. Every now and then we do make mistakes. Not too often, mind you, but every now and then we do. Then hop on down. I think it is page number 23 we want to hop down to and make sure that we have the correct trustee information. Let's see. Yeah, it is page 23. And you want to go to the section number 23 of page number 23, where it says, who's the trustee of the retirement plan? Make sure that it has your name, maybe you and your spouse's information inside there. We want to make sure the proper people are named as the trustees of the plan and thus have the decision-making capacity for the plan. Then bounce on down to page 25. Go ahead and date and sign the document at that point in time. And you're going to sign it both as the owner of the business and as the trustee. So you'll be signing in both positions here. Then you're going to be finding this out each year, and this is what you pay a licensing fee for each year, is that there's always changes being made in the tax code, and it's required that your retirement plan adopt these changes. So here's one of many different modifications and amendments of the plan. We got some amendments put on the back of this thing. Here's the PPA amendment. Let's bounce on down to the very last page, page 38. And go ahead and sign this and date this as well. So with the adoption agreement, you're going to want to review the information on page 1, make sure that's correct. Review the trustee information on section 23 of page 23. Then bounce down to page 25 and sign on page 25 then bounce down to page 38 and sign on page 38. And that's the adoption agreement. The amendments, we talked about those before, but we also have some additional amendments that you'll need to review and then date and then sign. Once again, just keep it in your books and records. Two different areas where you need to sign in the current versions of the amendments. And by the way, as I said before, Congress is always changing the laws. They always need to update the plans. So expect some more amendments to be coming your way. Each year we typically send out some 1 or 2 sets of amendments. And so as the new amendments come through, just go ahead and put them inside this location of the binder. Once again, they don't need to be filed with anybody. Just keep in your books and records. The trust document. The way we set up our retirement plan is it is a trust. So the trust document is the document that explains how the trust is going to be operated. Please review that information and then bounce down to the last page of the trust document and sign that. Next, we get to the deferral agreements. The heart and soul of a 401k plan is that it is something called a cash or deferred arrangement. In other words, you are allowed to make deferrals into the 401k plan. How do you make the deferrals? Let's say that you set up the retirement plan relatively late in the year, and the way you're going to get a lot of money into there is by giving yourself a bonus. What you would do is fill out the bonus deferral agreement. Pretty simple stuff. It's going to ask for your personal information. I think you're going to know your name, probably going to know your social security number and date of birth and the date of hire the day you started the business. Next, it's going to ask you, are you going to make a regular 401k contribution? Check this if you're looking to get a tax deduction for the contribution to the 401k plan, and then whenever you start taking the money out, it will be subject to taxes. So on the bonus deferral agreement, you're saying you are hereby authorized to reduce my bonus. You're saying this to yourself effectively, to reduce my bonus that I'm to receive on or after, and put down the date, by XYZ%, or you can put in a specific dollar amount for contribution on a pre-tax basis to the John Doe 401k PSP. Obviously, it'll have your name in there. Or if you want to make it a Roth contribution, you can say that you're authorized to deduct XYZ% or XYZ dollars of your bonus for a certain date and put it inside the retirement plan. Another way to put money inside of a retirement plan is to make after-tax contributions. That just means money that was burning a hole in your pocket. You wanted to put it inside of a retirement plan, and so you can elect to have that money put directly inside the retirement plan. And then you go through everything, and you just sign and date the form and put it in your own books and records. So this way, if the IRS audits you and wants to find out how did you put money in from a bonus, you just pull out this form and show them you have the form filled out and it was available for their review. Alternatively, if the company you work for is a corporation, be it an S corporation or a C corporation, and you're being paid a W-2 salary, you would fill out the wage deferral agreement if you didn't want to make a lump sum contribution into the retirement plan via a bonus. So if you want to make ongoing contributions throughout the year, you would fill out the wage deferral agreement. Same stuff up here: first name, middle name, last name, social security number, date of birth, and date of hire. Once again, if you want to make a regular 401k contribution, fill out the area for regular 401k contributions. These are the ones that you would get tax deductions for. If you want to make a Roth contribution, go ahead and check this box and fill in this information, and you'll make a Roth contribution. If you don't want to make any contribution whatsoever, check the box that says no contributions. If you want to make it so it's the after-tax contributions that we talked about before, check this area off and fill in this information. And then after going through everything, just sign and date it and keep it in your books and records. So you'll use the wage deferral agreement if you're getting compensation from a corporation, be it a C corporation or an S corporation. If you're self-employed or the money's coming out of a partnership like an LLC or an LP, then you want to fill out the self-employed deferral agreement. Same thing as before, all the participant information up top here. And once again, you decide, do you want to get tax deductions? Do you want to forego the tax deductions, you get tax-free growth? Then check the Roth contribution. Do you want to put in the after-tax contributions? You make your choice. and you go ahead and just sign and date the form. Just that simple. So that's the deferrals. So to put additional money inside the retirement plan, you have to fill out the deferral form, and that can either be a bonus where you want to defer a certain amount of the bonus. It can be wage deferrals, or if you're self-employed or working for an LLC or LP taxed as a partnership or a sole proprietorship, then you would fill out the self-employed deferral agreement. Okay, next thing. Successor trustee. This is a big important one. Successor trustee is where you fill out this form and you say who is going to take over as the successor trustee if something bad happens to you. And why is this important? Well, let's say you do a great job with your 401k and you build up a ton of money inside of this thing, and there's a few million bucks. And then something happens to you and you get inside a coma, or I don't know what happens, or maybe you pass away. Who's going to carry out the wishes of yours as to who's going to be the beneficiary of the plan? If there's no trustee, who's going to carry out the actions that need to be carried out for the 401k plan? Pretty much no one. That's why we need to have a successor trustee appointed. Most people appoint their surviving spouse as the successor trustee. It isn't by law that they have to be. It's just, who do you trust the most out there? Name them as the successor trustee so they can carry out your wishes of your retirement plan assets whenever you no longer can. Once again, just go ahead and sign and date this form and keep it in your books and records. Next form, beneficiary designations. And this ties in quite a bit with the successor trustee issue. What you do is you put down your information up top here. Then we go through all this wonderful boilerplate, and an area marked primary beneficiaries. Go ahead and put down the name and address of who you want to be the beneficiary of your plan. And it can be one person gets 5%, one person gets 10%, another person gets 33%, as long as the percentage adds up to be 100%. Now also, we live in a strange world. All sorts of strange stuff happens. If none of the primary beneficiaries designated above survive me, who do you want the money to go to? Go ahead and name these people as your secondary or contingent beneficiaries. Typically, people are going to name their surviving spouse as the primary beneficiary and their kids as the secondary beneficiaries. Then just check down your marital status and sign and date the document. Once again, put it in your books and records. Doesn't need to be filed anywhere. Next form, basic plan document. Or I'm sorry, I jumped ahead there. Participant loan documents. One of the great benefits of the 401k is that you're allowed to borrow money from it. You can borrow the lesser of 50% or $50,000 from the 401k plan. How do you do it? You do it by following through the procedures of the 401k procedures. Just read these and it's going to explain everything out there. The loan needs to be paid back within a 5-year time period. It needs to be paid back level amortized, at least quarterly payments. And that's what the loan documents are for. Fill out the promissory note if you want to borrow the money. Go ahead and sign it. Trustee needs to sign. The borrower needs to sign. It needs to be dated. If you're married, we need to have the spouse consent to the loan. They need to sign it. All that good stuff. Loan application, fill out the loan application, seeing how much you request. Once again, at the end of the day, you sign and date all this stuff, and you keep it in your books and records. We don't need it. It's strictly as a prophylactic to protect you from any IRS audit. If they get excited and say you didn't do the proper forms, we just want to make sure that you have the forms and you fill out the proper forms so that if there is an IRS audit, you're covered. Next thing we have is the basic plan document. The basic plan document, well, like I said before, 80 pages of pure boilerplate. It's just given all the different options that you can do with your retirement plan. If you ever have a hard time sleeping, this is a great cure-all for that. I mean, just look at this paragraph alone. Actual contribution ratio means, woo, that's a doozy, that whole thing. Then, actual deferral ratio, boy, that's exciting stuff too. Anyway, just scroll down to read through this at your convenience. That's the basic plan document. Just keep in your books and records. You don't need to do anything with it. Next tab is tab number 9, original plan order, is your order form when you initially set up and ordered your plan. and number 10 is the bank documents. So whenever we coordinate with your bank, with the particular bank for your retirement plan, just start putting your bank documents inside tab 10 so you have it readily available. And that is the big binder, big scary binder that you received, just going through it step by step. This is just a quick overview. If you have any in-depth questions that you have regarding the paperwork or its application to your particular situation, by all means, give the person who set up your plan a phone call and they should be able to walk you through it in a lot more detail. Thank you very much for your time.